Hey guys, Kenny here, Ken Small Engines. It's actually not a hot day out, but I'm sweating because the sun's pretty hot. This video is going to be about a Briggs Quantum, one of my favorite engines, aside from the Tecumsehs. And what happens is the customer said it would run for maybe a half a minute or so, then die out. So he brought it back to me, and I diagnosed it. I figured it out, and it was pretty much what I thought it was. But take a look at the video. Hopefully, it'll help you guys. If you ever have a Briggs Quantum engine, it only runs for about 30 seconds or so, and then it shuts off. Take a look. It's a fairly simple fix, fairly inexpensive, but I hope it helps you guys out. All right, we'll see you soon. All right, guys, Kenny here, Ken Small Engines. How you doing? This mower, I had fixed it maybe a month or two ago, and it was running great. Actually ran perfect. Guy hadn't serviced it in forever. So I tuned it up for him. You can tell he keeps it outside. That was a brand new spark plug in there. Now it looks all oxidized and stuff, so he keeps it outside, I'm sure, of the elements. But anyway, what was happening, he ran it for a few months. Everything was great, and then all of a sudden he said it would die after about maybe a minute. So I tried it, and he's right. After about 30 seconds to a minute, it would just all right? So as it was dying, I would hit the primer bulb and it would come back to life. So it's definitely a fuel shortage issue, or a fuel, lack of fuel. Anyway, what I found on these Quantums a lot is if you're using carb cleaner, carb spray or something, and it gets into the needle and seat, or if you use some kind of fuel treatment and it gets into the needle and seat, it'll swell the seat. So that when you tip the carburetor upside down, instead of having the float level, it'll be very high or actually low when it's the right side up. And that will not allow enough fuel in there to keep the thing running more than 30 or 40 seconds. So I'm going to take the carb out, and we're going to see if that's the case, and we'll be back shortly. Yep, so just as I expected, guys, if you look at the float, see how it's pointing up? It's supposed to be level or a little bit below level. When it points up higher than level like that, it doesn't allow enough fuel into the carb bowl, and by not allowing enough fuel in, it'll only run it for about a minute and then shut off. And then it has, if you let it sit for a second, it'll refill again and run again. So you got to make sure that's a swelled needle in there, a swelled seat. So I'm going to take the seat out and I'm going to show you the difference between a new one and the swollen one. Okay, I'll be right back. All right, so we got the swollen needle and seat. I'm going to take it out and I'm going to show you. All right, I got the Tecumseh tool that I use to take out the needles or the seats, actually. You could use a crochet needle, but I got the actual Tecumseh tool. It works on the Briggs. All right, here's the seat. All right. And what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm actually going to drain the fuel that's in this tank, because I don't know what's in it, and there could have been something in it that was causing it to swell. So in this case, I'm going to drain it and put fresh fuel in that I know doesn't have any stabilizer or anything in it that could swell up that seat. Here's the new kit. For those carburetors, it's a 398, oh, where is it? 398188 Briggs kit. It comes with the red seat and a new needle. And I will show you the difference. Okay, and if you look at the seats, you can clearly see the one on the left is the old one, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's definitely swollen compared to the brand new one on the right. You can see it's a lot more rounded on top and swollen, and it's thicker. So that's what happens when they get exposed to carb cleaner. They will swell, and when they swell, the needle gets too high and it holds the float too high because there's no adjustment on those floats. They're not like the old brass floats. So even though it'll hold fuel, the needle will be too high. So I'm going to change it out. Let me put it back together and I'll be back with you shortly. All right. What I like to do when I put these seats in, I will use a little oil. Put a little oil on the side of it to help lubricate it so it goes into the carb a little easier. I'll just put a little oil on the side of the seat. All right, and the smooth side is always up. There's a side with grooves in it. I don't know if you can see, there's circular grooves in there. That side always goes down. Okay, so they slide in. Oh, they slide in a lot easier than the Tecumsehs do, but they are a pain in the butt sometimes. And just a tip, the Tecumseh tool is tight on the ID, so if you try to install it with the Tecumseh tool, a lot of times it doesn't work properly. Yeah, these are fun. They are fun to get in there. They are definitely fun to get in. Oh, these are definitely a pain. There we go. All right, so I get it in there and I push it down good. Make sure it's seated good. And the way you can tell it's good is when you put the new needle on the float, it'll be roughly parallel. Not that the old needle was bad, but you get a new needle in the kit. So put the new needle in, put the pin back in, and let's see where she is. And you can see, guys, now with the new needle and seat, it's level, okay? It's a little bit below, just a hair below level. That's where you want it. By having it at that level, it now will run and will not shut off. So I'm gonna put this back together, I'm gonna put it on the mower. I'll be back in a few minutes, we'll try it out. Just another tip, guys, when you're putting on the Quantum air box for the air filter and you see the piece here that goes onto the crankcase vent, the long portion of this L-shaped piece, the long portion always goes in first. If you have it backwards, if it fell off and you see it, if you try and put the short portion on here, it'll hold the air box away and pinch that tube. So always make sure the long portion of this goes in first onto the crankcase ventilation tube, okay? Just a quick tip. If you do it the other way, it's not gonna fit and you're gonna get mad. All right, let me throw this thing back together. We'll be right back. All right, guys, let's see if that was it. Before, she would only run for 30 seconds and then shut off. So let's try her again. Let's see. Like I said, 30 seconds, she'd shut off. Let's see what happens now. Sounds good to me. All right, be right back. All right, guys. Yeah, it ran great. Just went around the yard real quick for a few minutes. It's running good. Just so you know, part number 398188, that is the red seat. You see it in there, the red seat and the needle for the Briggs Quantum. They do swell. If you put carburetor cleaner on them, they will swell. So if you have an instance where the mower runs for 30 seconds to a minute, then dies out, but if you prime it, it'll come back to life because it's missing fuel. Check that float, make sure the float's level. Chances are you got a swollen seat. All right, guys, that'll be it for me. We'll talk to you soon.
Hello everyone, I'm the Lawnmower Detective, and thanks for being here on Ken's Small Engine Repair Channel. Slide on over to my channel if you get a chance. I'm the Lawnmower Detective, and don't forget, it's donut time.